I believe you may have mentioned that Google can now tell if you have spun content or if you have rephrased existing content for your site. So if you're using any of the content scraper tools for top ranked sites, can you mix and match or rephrase that top ranked content to create your own optimized content that Google will like? Or will Google be able to detect similarities between your content and the content of top sites that penalize you? You know, again, Google can detect spun content because it tokenizes words that are similar, like all the synonyms really are kind of condensed down into one word, right? And so Google can take one piece of content that's been spun 50 times and it can detect, you know, that those spun versions of it are basically the same structure of the original, unless you're using, you know, again, like multi-level, you know, where some of the spinners will do like total paragraph rewriting and all that and change the entire structure and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that's a little bit better, but you know, rephrasing content is better because it keeps everything natural language, right? So it keeps the words that would go together better than, like, you know, spinners just swap out synonyms and such. And so it's easy to have words that aren't fully relevant and all that. All I'm saying is to kind of answer your question, Gordon, you know, when you're taking bits and pieces of other people's content and you're mix and matching, like I like to do, I call them Frankenstein articles, right? And Page Rewriter is fantastic for that. But then you rephrase it, obviously swap out any non-relevant terms with relevant terms. And that means like locations and any brand mentions and stuff like that. You obviously want to swap that out to make it relevant to your project. But I like to Frankenstein articles, you know, paragraph here, a header here, another paragraph from another site here, another paragraph or a heading from another site here, and kind of Frankenstein this article together. Then you swap out those, you know, the non-relevant terms for relevant terms, and then I go run it through a rephraser, right? And that way it's unique. And I've not had any bad experiences doing that yet. Again, I don't typically do that for money site content. We will do that sometimes for tier 1 content, and then for link building content, absolutely. There's no question that's one of the best ways to do it. Okay. So again, I don't like to use spinners. I still do for, like, if I'm doing a lot of you know, like map embeds or something like that, that in the gig that I'm ordering requires a spun article, then I might take an article and run it through Spin Rewriter still, because those are kind of like Web 2 embeds and it's different. But if I'm going to be building links back to my money site or my Google Business Profile website, which are my two primary money assets, then I'm going to use well-tuned content. I don't like to use anything spun at all. And I like to use really, really well, like I like to treat content that where I'm placing a link that's going to point back to my money site or to my Google Business website. I want that content to be optimized just as good as the content that's on my money site. If that makes sense. Tier 2, absolutely. You can get, in my opinion, you can get away with less, you know, optimized content or less well-produced content, so to speak. But I think it's really, really important. Again, from testing over the last 6 months, I've just been buried in link building, and I'm fascinated with it, actually. And I found just really good results. If I can get a link placed, really relevant content, even if it's a lower powered property that I'm getting as the link source, it moves the needle more than getting a high powered link in a non-relevant source. And so for me, I'd rather take the time and spend the money on content than, you know, and time and effort into the content, so that I get more effect from the link, right? It's more efficient that way, and it's more cost effective, actually. So, and the beautiful thing, like I said, especially with tier 1 tuned content like that, is you can take that piece of content and run it through a rephraser 2 or 3 times. And now you've got 3 or 4 pieces of content that you can use for tier 1 link building. Does that make sense? Because again, it's not money site content. So I'm okay with taking that tier 1 content and putting it through a rephraser once or twice or 3 times. And now I've got multiple pieces of content that I can use. And you might swap the kind of like the structure of the article around too, besides just rephrasing it. Maybe add another paragraph here and there and that kind of stuff. But now you can take that same piece of content and publish it on multiple locations. And now you have a really relevant tier 1 link back to your money site or your Google Business website. If that makes sense. Okay. Another good question.